Hello makers, this is the second of my studio tours and this is probably one of the most requested tours that I got. I have had many people message me asking, where do you put this? How do you store this? How did you organize that? Are you going to show us how you organized everything? So this is the tour for that. And so I'm going to do it as quickly as I can. I'm going to do it as steadily as I can, meaning I'm going to try not make you motion sick and I'm going to try not make myself motion sick. So I'm going to move slowly and show you what I can. This may be a little bit long. I apologize in advance, but I'm going to do my best to show you everything. I have about 80% of the things loaded in here, and I have another 20% or so that I'm going to have to find room for. But I think that that's enough. So let's go ahead and get started talking. We'll start in what used to be the closet, and we're going to come over here. These organizers that I got were from Hobby Lobby, and they they fit just perfectly. They're very easy to put together. And then they do have the baskets that fit in them, and you can get as many as you want to go inside them. So I only got a couple of those. All right, let's start up at the top. Again, I'm moving slowly, so I apologize for how long this is going to take. So at the top, I just have, I got rid of most of my cropper hoppers, and actually I got rid of probably 50% of my papers and donated all of that to remainders. But these are some that I kept that I am hoping to put to good use because I want to get back to scrapbooking. That's how I started in the paper crafting industry, was teaching scrapbook classes, designing for scrapbook stores that were in my town and things like that. So I want to get back to scrapbooking for myself and also making some kits. These are papers for me, and these are also papers for me. So I can, get my scrap back on. Up here in the top corner are my binders and samples and things that I made for my creative chemistry 101, 102, and 103. This is my Bible journaling cubby, and so I have my some ledgers, my Bible, my journaling Bible, which has like a blank page, and then it'll have a page of scripture and a blank page. I also have some journals that I take sermon notes in, and so this is an extra one for when I fill up the one that I'm working on now, and I use that in conjunction with Bible journaling. The stamps here are from Creative Worship Stamps, which used to be Sweet and Sassy stamps. You may be familiar with them. My friend Nina B makes a lot of stamp sets for them, and they are hymns and scriptures and things like that. Absolutely love them. So those are the big ones in the back there. And then in the front, I have some of the paper tray ink reflections that are scriptures also, and love those. So that's my Bible journaling. Down here are odds and ends of Ranger products that I bought and that don't fit in my upper cupboards because they're too tall. So I just stuck them in the corner here. It's the cut and dry felt and the alcohol ink hardcore panels. Over here, these are some Cards for Kindness supplies. So I joined the Simon Says Stamp Card of the Month Club, and I go through the supplies each month and put them here and there. And so the extras I put in for Cards for Kindness. I just sent in a big set of cards to them. And so this is me getting ready to make more to send in at some point. This has a whole bunch of pages that I made in the past, designed in the past, whatever. And they either need journaling or they need pictures or something like that. They just need a little bit of finishing, and especially if I made them for a class and they don't have photos on them, or for a kit, then I have to, get my own photos and get those posted. So that's what all these are. I decided not to put them in tubs and put them away, or I wouldn't finish them. But if they're sitting here and I don't have anything to do, I'm going to do that. All right, moving over here. I have my bunch of tags of different sizes. These are like leftover bits of paper from kits and all kinds of things like that that I just cut into A2 sized papers and things that could go on an A2 sized paper made from all of the scraps. And then I told myself how many cards that each packet would make. So this is just packed full of leftover bits and pieces from old kits. And then I even have some things that I could, put a word on a card like hi or something like that. So I have a bunch of stickers that would go with those also. And I just can't help myself. I keep buying paper every time I see it on sale. And so these are more for card kits. This thing is full of Sizzix surfaces, cardstocks, felts, all of that. This one is my more of a like a travel journal cubby. So I have a bunch of Tim Holtz ideology journal things like the folios and pocket folios and the fabric journals and all of that. But I also in here have all my items that I could use for either card making or for journaling, like the sellotape, the postage sticker book, the clippings, and all the different metallic sticker books and chit chats and small talks and all of those. That's all in here. And then I have just some travel journal stuff here. I started a travel journal in 2020 when I got to take my first ever trip to Walt Disney World, and I was so excited. And so I got a Diane Reevely journal, and I was writing in it all the kinds of things I wanted to see and try and all of that. I made even some printed off some little square photos. Where is it? Little square photos. That's me in front of Spaceship Earth. But I did not get it done. And so I put that here because, again, if it's in my face, maybe I'll get that done. And then this is a journal that I bought a long time ago. It's a District Market journal by Tim Holtz, and I just love it. I've never used it, and I probably won't ever use it. I just like to have it out here so I can look at it. So it's okay in your space to just have some things that you like to look at, right? So that's what that is. Down here, I have a bunch of Whimsy supplies and also Stampers Anonymous supplies. So in this crate, which I got from a Hobby Lobby a long time ago, they are not available anymore. I looked and looked and looked for them all over the place. So I have my Whimsy papers are all in here. And these types of things I got from scrapbook.com. And I also got these little envelopes and these tall slimline envelopes, all from scrapbook.com. And these hold my Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz, the components stamps. These hold the mixed media stamp and stencil sets. And then in the back here, I have some of my Whimsy Stamps slimline papers. So that's those. I got these little things that are like little chalkboards, and then they come with chalk kind of markers, and the chalk markers wipe off with paper, so which is good because I keep changing these all around, as well as these stickers come with it, and these stickers also wipe off and you can rewrite on them as well. So I have those little tags on everything. Let me move this very quickly. And over here, I just have my stencils, all kinds of stencils. So I have on 1-3 ring my minis, and I have them organized by the number of the mini. So this is the 3 that were in the mini set 3, set 7, set 10. So you can kind of see how that goes. These are the smaller elements stencils, and I actually have a little tag on each one that tells me what the name of that set is so that I know what it is. So that's how I organize those. And then my other stencils back here, these are just mostly everyday background stencils, and the old version had the name and then the number up here, but now the new versions just have the number at the bottom. And so I put the number at the top with my labeler. This is why it's taken me so long to reload. And then back here I have Christmas and Halloween. And then in the very back together I have the mini and the regulation size shifters. So I put those separately because they're super cool. Over here are just specialty papers, everything from alcohol inks to my two-tone wood grain, which is retired, the black two-tone and the gray two-tone, and then all the different alcohol ink type papers, UPOs, Duralars, all of that is all in here. Down below, and I'm going to put some stills. I think that will help us not get sick. But down here, I have, these are my storage envelopes for things. Right here are all of my honeybee. I don't have very many, but a few honeybee for 4th of July. And then a bunch of Sassy Club. These are kind of Disney inspired stamps that I got from Sassy Club. And then paper from Sassy Club. I like to make cards and give them to the housekeepers and cast members and things like that when we go to Disneyland or Walt Disney World. These are extra Bigs dies. Moving over here are my cutters. And in the bottom down here is my travel platform. These are Stampers Anonymous stamps, and these are all background stamps. And then these are just, I kind of organized them, but they're all organized by number in their sections. And so I have like, holidays, scrolls, botanicals, things like that. And then if they have a coordinating stamp with it, I went ahead and just put stamp on it so that I would know, because I have the stamps in a different place. Same thing down here, Stampers Anonymous stamps. Hey friends, this is Future Tami. I wanted to just come back in before I move on and address a couple of things for this drawer and a few others. And that is that when I was editing, I noticed that I had said that the stamps that have dies, that I put the word stamps on them. I don't know why I did that at the time, but I needed to put the word dies. So I'm slowly going through and replacing the word stamps with dies. So those of you who noticed that and were like, what is she even talking about? Anyway, and then also the dividers are made, we cut these on my professional die cutter with some mini book dies that I have, some professional mini book dies, and I know pretty much everybody does not have access to anything like this. So I have been looking for something that anyone could use if you decided to use a drawer system like this for yours. And I actually came across from scrapbook.com. They have some tabs, and these are tabbed dividers, white tabbed dividers at scrapbook.com that actually fit perfectly in these drawers. And the tabs are in different spots so that, they will be in different locations throughout the storage drawer that you're using. But I really love these, and they're nice and sturdy. And so I'm going to be using these from now on instead of cutting my own. But I thought I would share that with you. I will go ahead and link to these for scrapbook.com in the comments below if that will help. In the middle, these are large slimline whimsy stamps, either stamps or dies, and also some of their stencils. Down here, these are all whimsy stamps, clear stamps in alphabetical order up to the letter N. These are whimsy stamps, picking it up from the letter N and then going back to here. And then this is where the rubber stamps start. And then for whimsy, if they're retired, I put them in the back and I put a sticker on it that says retired so I don't accidentally use it. Up here in this top one, I have my big cutter, my small scoring tool, and then all my different stamp platforms are all in here. And over here is where I have my matching dies. So these are also some stamps and dies from Simon Says Stamp card kits. And then behind it are the collaboration stamp sets with the Stampers Anonymous stamps. So these are the ones that I would pull out that match the stamps in the other drawer. These are the Sizzix coordinating framelits for some of the stamps. And then a long time ago, you used to be able to buy a stamp and then a coordinating framelit. And I have a bunch of those kits that I purchased. In the back here are my Stamp Timber sets. And then over here is Halloween. I have the sentiments, and then I have Halloween stamps. And these are cleaners. This the thing my dad made me to get an even pressure on my stamp platforms. And these are all the different blocks that I have. And then down here is Christmas. And in the back are the old Ideology foam stamps. Right here, I have my travel minis, distress inks, and mini oxides. Yay for the new mini oxides. And then over here are my A2 and mini slimline die sets from Whimsy, and they are in alphabetical order. And at the bottom is my trusty labeler, all of my refills, and then underneath is my little tiny photo printer. And then these are photo papers, the plugger inner for the photo printer, and toner. All right, we've only done one wall. I hope you're not sorry you asked for this. You may have to watch it in segments. So on my workstation, I have the colored inks here, distress inks, and the colored distress oxides over there. I have my pens. The top are my foams for the oxides. The bottom are my foams for my inks. Some foam replacements there at the ready. And then right here, I have all the things like scissors and rulers and all of that. And then I have my spray stains. I'll go ahead and show you. These are my neutral, distress, and oxide inks, and my archivals for stamping. Here are my stains. Here are my oxides. Here are my spritzes, mica stains, mica crayons, distress pearls, resist spray, and the refresher. Underneath my workspace, I have a whole bunch of paper holders, and these are packs and packs and packs of paper for layouts, mini books, card kits, etc. So I have my work cut out for me, and I really need to get back into scrapbooking. And then in between, I didn't have enough room because I thought that I had to make it only 6 feet long. And so I didn't put a third set of these paper holders. So I have more paper in some tubs in storage, but my cats love this, so we call it the cat pass because they love to come in and out through this little pass. So I'm glad it's there. Because this side is going to be where I make most of my cards and things, I have all of the stamps on the back side of it, and my cutters and my scorers and stamping platforms, so I can just turn around, grab what I need, put it on my work surface. And I have all my inks and stains and all of that here, so it's close for when I am working back and forth and can put it away easily. On this side, I have archival inks. I have my brushes for inks and my brushes for oxides. I have my mini blending foams and tools. I have the re-inkers for my basic oxides, my mini uh, my mini brushes, and then these are like mini, kind of little mini foam sticks that I got from Ranger. See, they have foam on the end, and I use it for little tiny places that I need to get into for super tiny because they're smaller than this. And then this is embossing ink, and I also have my microglaze in here for different techniques. So for use with the microglaze, I have a set aside tool, a set aside microglaze brush, and then I also have my stamps to stamp on the back of my makes very quickly. This one is paints. This one is watercolor pencils, markers, and this is my distressed crayons back here. These are my palettes for various things. And I also have a set aside brush just for my crayons, pencil sharpeners. These are my re-inkers for my distress inks and my oxides. And then in the back, I have the tin for my colored archivals, the refills for the colored archivals. And down here, this is just all extras and whatever else. So these are secondary, you know, when I run out of one of these colors, I already have a replacement. One thing here on the back of my workstation, I wanted it 4 feet wide, but these Alex drawers are not each 2 feet wide. They were just a little bit short, and it left this funny gap. We were going to close it up, and then I realized I have my Sizzix cutter scorer, and I also had another, I think this is Martha Stewart cutter scorer, and I have my EK Success Circle mat, and I didn't have a place to put those. And so they fit actually right in there. So I told my husband, don't cover that up. I'm just going to use that to store my big cutters. This wall has a lot, so I'm going to step over in front of each section so that I'm not moving around too much. In the first upper cupboard, I have all of these baskets. I got them from Amazon, and they have the little blackboard tags that I put on the front with all the things in it. Most of the things in this cupboard are for kits or for my own personal scrapbooking. So I have tons and tons of papers that I've bought over the years and haven't made any kits out of, and I'm looking forward to getting into doing that. I even have a bunch of stuff for October afternoon paper. I don't know about you, but I love vintage paper as much as I love the new stuff. So, I'm glad that I have this, and I'm going to be able to make some kits out of it. I have a bunch of dies also for my own scrapbooking and also for kitting. And so these are various dies from like Echo Park, Sizzix, some other things. These are Disney inspired dies, some from Tall Mouse, some from Simple Stories, Echo Park, that kind of thing. So that's all that. Down here, I have a bunch of, this is my professional die cut machine. It die cuts the big professional dies. And I got this when my local scrapbook store went out of business several years ago. And so she kindly sold this to me along with some dies that I could use for making layouts, mini books, and that kind of thing for kids. So here are some of my punches that I use. And down here are the professional dies, and then the big plates for my switch, and also for this pro cutter. And then I have my cinch back there, which I have not used yet. I'm a little scared of it, and one of you may have to come over and help me learn how to do that. The second upper, again, all the baskets, and this has mostly Tim Holtz thinlits, and I will show you how I organized those. Up above here is the Sizzix shaping tool and the die picks and things like that, extras. This is full of shaker domes by Sizzix, as well as some Hampton Art action wobblers, stingers. And these are the Sizzix sequence beads and confetti. They have them in lots of different colors. And over here is This Calls for Confetti. That's the name of the company. For my Tim Holtz dies, here is how I organize them. So these are some dies that are 3D shapes, as well as my little sidekick dies. So this would be like a matchbox or the star that poofs out, things like that. So things that are a 3D shape. These are just basic lace, travel, scrolls, celebrate, hearts, just shapes that don't really have any particular theme to them. Greenery, flowers, and wreaths, lots in there. Birds, butterflies, and insects, and all the colorized animals are in this one. Lots of alphanumeric alphas, lots of sentiments. This is sentiments for everyday, Halloween, and Christmas. They're all in the same one. So if I need a sentiment for a card or layout, just grab it there. These are the Tim Holtz backgrounds, borders, and mixed media thinlits. So a lot of them are A2 size, but some of them are smaller. They might be borders. And I won't be able to find one, so I don't want to take the time to look. These are basic outline shapes, and then other things like tags or file folders or things that you would add to something. And when I say outline shapes, I mean like this, where this is the decal, and you can cut different sizes of decal or postcard shape or whatever it is. Okay, so that's what I mean by that. Moving down below that one, I have my, these are old Disney punches. I have a bunch of my sticky stuff for cutting like alphabets on a mat. You put the sticky back stuff on there. These are awesome. I just was introduced to these a few months ago. These are the Crafty Cleanup Claws from scrapbook.com, and they just come off like a paper towel. So they have these little things, then you just pull them off, and you have a little, they're kind of microfiber towels, but they don't stick to you like the regular microfiber does, and they're washable. I love that. And these are my other Inky Binkies and aprons. And down here, I told you, I have a problem and I buy paper. So there's a whole bunch of paper for making scrapbook kits. And then these are some old stamps that my friend Susan designed with Ink Boutique a long time ago. And on top is, oh, these are folios by Photoplay. I wanted to give those a try. These are in between two uppers, so we'll just go through the drawers very quickly. They are Sizzix, so a bunch of die cutting mats here and the different platforms. I have these long, thin, I don't know, are they sizzlets or something like that? Dies, I've got all those. I've got all my on the edge dies here. This is the plug-in for my switch. These are Biggs dies, and these are the old diffusers for using with the embossing folders that Tim used to have. And then these are the shuttles for the movers and shapers. And now they have something else, but I just use those. All right, these are more Biggs XL. These are the original Village dies that I bought, and then these are the new thinlet sets. The next upper has my Distress Embossing glaze right here. This is Distress Stickles, and then these two are retired, but this is Distress Glitter and Distress Embossing powders up there. Right here I have Vault dies, and I have the A5 or the 5x7 large texture fades, 3D texture fades. These are the normal A2 3D texture fades. These are the old school embossing folders that are awesome. I want to get back to using those. These are the mini 3D texture fades and the 3D impresslets that had the die cut in them, like the leaves and things. Down here, some more thinlits. So these are winter, meaning snowflakes, mountains, trees, snowmen, different things like that. This is Christmas and December. So in the front, I have my December dies from past years. And then behind it would be Christmas. This is autumn, fall, and pumpkin leaves. And then this one is particularly Halloween dies. So that's how I organized all of my Tim Holtz dies. And then these are from Stamp and Storage, and they have all of my alphas, my XL alphas, as well as some of the jumbo, like the curio box and some of that, the lantern or luminary, and then jumbo tattered florals. So some of these are the big shapes as well. And then I also have just some other various things that were general, like the tag, the pillow box, the bag, all those things. Okay, so those are pretty much all of the dies. The last upper has my alcohol inks and mixatives and things like that on the top shelf. And then over here is all the stuff that goes with alcohol inks, like felt, lift ink, alcohol in my distress sprayer, that kind of stuff is up in that basket. And then underneath, I've got my Xyron adhesives and Xyron cartridges and tape runners. I don't have my extra big Xyron, but those are the little X's and all of that. Specialty embossing powders like tinsel or the fuzzy stuff, anything that's different. This is basic, like black, white, clear embossing folders. It's also the little hot hands and the static, anything that I need for embossing is in there. This is just stuff like wire and toothpicks and wood sticks and odds and ends that I find that I always need when I'm making with ideology. Right here is my crocodiles, the corner chompers, and also the multi-hole punch. This one where you punch multi-holes with it. And then this is just the old school crocodiles. I have two of those. Adhesives that are foam, so foam squares and foam tape. Adhesives that are glue dots, red line tape, or stick-wing tape. On my blending foams, my paintbrushes, palette knives, and brayers. And then these are my sanding blocks. So I have some that I got like this, and then I have my Tim Holtz one. And I also have a whole bunch of where is it? Of the old Tim Holtz. Yeah, there's that, as well as I put some that I had bought that Tim had talked about in the past. So that's all in there. And then these are my towels to be laundered and anything else that needed to be laundered. So those towels from scrapbook.com can go in the washing machine. So these are towels I've used, as well as you can wash your foam. And so there are some of the foams that I want to wash and my old Inky Binkies too. So this is my laundry. The last two lowers are kind of just catch-alls. So this one is a bunch of the brown and gray distress markers that I've had for years that I use when I cut something out that's dark and I don't want that white edge around the die. I will use these to kind of color that in, and other various things, rub-on tools, rings. I don't know how many of these I have and why I have so many, but I have a bunch. And I don't know why I have so many water brushes, but I do. And then these are what the little tags look like, and also the stickers, and then the chalk. So down here, I just have some things in storage for me to pull out when I need it. I have my glue gun out already, but this also has my all of the different glue sticks and other glue guns for if I need more than one. And then laces and trims that I got when my scrapbook store went out of business. Lots and lots of twine. These are my tools, including my Dremel, odds and ends of lace for journals or layouts, and then a whole bunch of different Sizzix surfaces and crepe paper and things like that. All right, the last one on this wall, another kind of junk catch-all. It's got some brayers. It's this over here, actually. I have my my cat brush. They like to be brushed when they're in here, so I have that. And then pinking shears, some old media mats and things like that. So these are all the old ideology trims, and so I kept those separate. These are sewing threads and notions and things like that. These are just card samples that I've made that I just threw in there. Moss, raffia, greenery, odds and ends sizes of envelopes. So those are like 5x7, 6x6, and then there's some little gift tags that I had. And over here are just a bunch of embellishments for kits. I repurposed my Tim Holtz cart and I took out all of the inks and stains and paints and things that were in it. And I put in my Tim Holtz Eclectic Elements fabric, put my sewing machine on top. As you can see, I have my craft iron in the top drawer along with some other threads and notions, and my haberdashery scissors are in the little holder there. So that's all sewing stuff. I have more sewing stuff like stuffing and all that is in a crate in the guest room. We're almost there. On this side, I'm going to be doing my ideology. So I stored ideology items or things that I use with ideology. So over here, I have some scissors, my ideology mini attacher, those kinds of things. Down here, I have all of my grit pastes and texture pastes. I have brushes, all of that. This is more mediums, mica flakes, rock candy, distress, stickle, or glitter, all the other glitters, lots of collage medium, my deli sheets, and in the back are some glitters and mica and stuff from Halloween a few years ago. This has all my tiny lights, and these are trays that I got from scrapbook.com. I found them very helpful when I'm making ideology. You can see that what we used them for was we were glittering things for the Christmas class that Tim had with Simon Says Stamp. But yeah, you can put large items here. You can put your little ephemera packs or whatever, and then you can dig through it, and they're not gonna, slide under something or fall off or whatever. I really liked having them contained. And then these fit too on top of it, like that. And then these you can also get with these little containers, all from scrapbook.com. And I thought this fit my tiny lights well. So I have all my tiny lights in here. These are Christmas, Halloween, and regular cream or white or whatever. So, and the Halloween are blue and purple for the most part. There are a couple I think I have in here that are the yellow and purple. So that goes in here, and see, they fit in the bigger Alex drawers, which I think is nice. And down in the very bottom, I have my assemblage. So these are the Tim Holtz jewelry pieces that used to be in Joann's. So I have those there. In this side, I have my bits and baubles of ideology that I use a lot. So for organization with this, I bought these little trays off Amazon, and I'll put a link to them. So they have on the bottom of them these little kind of rubber circles that you can stick on, and then that helps them not move around. I really like this size. It fits in the Alex drawer really well, and then I can just put a bunch of stuff in it that I love to be able to reach for. However, I got these after I had gotten some original ones, and I do not like the original ones. So I want to replace these with those others, but I have to wait a little bit because, it's going to cost me. So these, you can see they have this lip, and so they don't fit as nicely as these do. These fit right next to each other because they don't have that big wide lip. So you can see why I want to replace them eventually. All right, more ideology, more ideology, more ideology in these little things. So let me show you what I did. And the bottom drawer is just like this, but it's Christmas. So there is the Christmas ideology. So these are those same little containers from scrapbook.com, and the same little envelopes. So I put lots of things like snippets and any ephemera if it would fit in it. So sometimes some of the other pieces that were small, collage tiles, that kind of thing, they fit in here pretty well. Okay, and then for Halloween, a lot of the ephemera fit. Sometimes there would be bigger pieces, and I just put those on the side here. But for the most part, and I just put the date on them or what they were, and they fit really well in here, and they don't take up a lot of space. Last but not least, there's no way I could fit my ideology collection in here, because whenever anything was retiring or at the end of a season, I would buy a bunch of it up as fast as I could. So I have a whole bunch of things on hand that are in tubs for kits or for myself, because, you know, I freaked out and bought a bunch of it. So up here is a bunch of retired ideology. Up here, ideology Christmas greens and baubles. And then over here are things like ideology Christmas trees, wood slices, that kind of stuff. So that's what's in all of those. Up here, these are a bunch of scrapbook kits, card kits, mini book kits, things like that, that I got at, it's a thing that I teach at called Ready, Set, Create. And so like this is a mini book by Lael Kankar, or Lael by Mail is her company. And so that's one kit that I need to finish. So those are things for me to take to crops and work on at crops. In the middle here, specialty papers. I've got my wood grain cardstock. I've got my cracked leather cardstock. I've got large foil, vellum, all that kind of thing all over here. And then these are just cheap heavy stock that I got off Amazon for like just card bases. So I don't use my good stuff for the card bases. So this is just white heavy stock, cream heavy stock, craft heavy stock, black heavy stock. And then down here is my good stuff. So I have my most favorite, my Distress Mixed Media heavy stock, and I kept an unopened packet so that I could use those for my videos when I show you what papers I used, so you know what to look for. Distress Watercolor, Distress Craft Heavy Stock, Distress White Heavy Stock, and Distress Black Heavy Stock, all of those. And over in this one, a bunch of, see, I told you, I freak out and I buy way too much. These are the old Tim Holtz journals and things. All the different sizes of journals. This is the long one, and some of them have the plastic inserts for the, you know, the page protector things. So a whole bunch of those. Love those. These I have not, I don't know, I need to work with these. These are a bunch of different bags that I've used for kitting things in the past, and also some little coin envelopes. This one is going to be refilled soon. I just ordered more craft card bases. These are slimline envelopes and regular A2 envelopes. Over here are my white card bases and envelopes, and over here are my black card bases and envelopes. And then in the center section here, I have mostly 12 by 12 papers that I use. And so up here are some 8 by 8s, 4 by 6s, and 6 by 6s. These are all Tim Holtz cardstocks. So these are some metallics. These are some of the classic cardstocks when they came in 8 by 8. These are old coordination 6 by 6 and 4 by 6 papers. These are just some various odds and ends of different ideology papers over the years. These are metallic jewel tones. This is 12 by 12. It was the paper that was craft and white, and it has the resist on it in the patterns. This is some old paper that I got at a Stampers Anonymous thing one time. And then these are the papers that were released just last spring. And then underneath are the original versions of all of them that I had. So I just put the new versions on top of the old versions all the way down here for those. So that's what all those are. And then over here I have, this is just basic 12 by 12 cardstock. I purged most of that. Oh goodness, even before I started work on the studio, I just had so much cardstock. So I purged that and donated it to a friend of mine who's a kindergarten teacher. And then over here is my Tim Holtz Coordinations cardstocks. And so I have those here. I use those sparingly and usually reach for these most of the time. But that's what's in the center section here underneath the other papers. Down here, I have a bunch of Christmas ideology in 3 of these. These are like divided, they're sectioned. And so I have a bunch of things in those. So I have 3 of them that are Christmas and one small one that's Halloween ideology, because most of the Halloween ideology is in, it's still in the packets, and it is stored in a big tub in my guest room. Down here is past ideology baseboards. So the chipboard items are in this, and then all the paper type things, the collage papers, the paper dolls, the worn wallpaper, the backdrops, all of that. And then this is the old 8x8 paper here for Halloween. And then at the bottom, same thing with Christmas. These are the bigger Christmas ideology items, and these are old Christmas 8x8 papers. And this is some everyday ideology that was extra. You've almost made it. 3 drawers left and we're done. So these are the little tiny fasteners and all of that I just pulled this out and will put it on my workstation, and then I can pull all the little, little brads or little fasteners, little things that I want. And then back here, these are long retired, but I love them, and so I got a bunch of them. The metallic droplets and the Halloween droplets, they go great on cards. And these are the mirrored stars. And then I loved these. I don't remember what they were called, but I liked them. I think they make a nice statement. So those, I have all the design tapes, the design tape gun, and this is the hole punch that goes with those binders, so that you can punch tags, you can punch papers, you can punch whatever, and it's the right width for the little binder holders. And here are some of my ideology structures. So the divided drawers, the trays, the domes, the boxes, all of that. Here are basic everyday ideology things. So the strips, the collage paper, the journaling cards, paper dolls, all of that kind of thing, snapshots, all of that, rub-ons. And so that stuff's all up there. And at the very bottom are all of my ideology papers. So these are extra backdrops. These are the regular backdrops that I've been using. And then when I need more, I have my backups here. Also have journaling cards, worn wallpaper, and then the sparkle and metallic cardstocks from the past are all in here as well. And then this is my etc. drawer and my framed panel drawer. Framed panels have been gone for a while, but I love them, so I have a whole stash of those as well. And then I have any of my extra framed panels and extra etc. are in a tub in my guest room. I didn't want to move on until I showed you on this wall. I do have, for my movers and shapers, this is an antique window that my dad found and purchased. And then he went to Home Depot and got some sheets of like a galvanized tin, and he replaced all the window panes with the galvanized tin, and then brought it down and delivered it to me. And he and my husband put it on the wall in this spot, and I made sure that it went back in this spot when we revamped the whole studio. So it's back where it started and where it belongs. I just treasure it. And so this is actually where I keep all of my movers and shapers, and these are the ones that go in either the movers and shapers big styes that are in the drawer across the room, or they go on the shuttle to cut the shapes out. So, and one thing that I didn't talk about was that my distress inks over there and my oxides are all in these containers. They do have some that are larger for all of the distress colors now, but I purchased these before we had all the colors, and so I have my neutrals in the drawer over next to where I work of both the oxides and the inks, but I got these from Stamp and Storage. All right, makers, we did it. So that's where everything is in my studio at this point, until I change it probably, because you know how we makers are. We start working and then we decide, oh my goodness, I need to change that, or it'll work better here, or something like that. So that's how it is now. If you have any questions, as always, go ahead and leave those in the comments for today's video. I'll be glad to answer them to the best of my ability, or point you in the direction of where I got whatever it was that you saw if I didn't mention where I got it. And I'll try and put a few links in the description for the video to make it easier for you. Most of the places I don't have an affiliate, so just uh, buy at your own discretion. And then scrapbook.com and Simon Says Stamp Items, I will go ahead and link to their stores for that with my affiliate link. Okay. So again, thanks so much. I know this was a long one. I hope it answered all your questions. I appreciate you following along, and I truly appreciate all your suggestions and help as I've been going through this. I really can't tell you how much I have enjoyed having all of you suggest things to me, give me advice, and and support and encouragement. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. So with that, I want to just say a fond farewell until my next actual tutorial video, which is coming very soon. And I will wish you a very creative day.